really, it's been quite an eye-opener listening these two statements and watching that play. I had a written statement. I don't think I'm going to do that, go through it anymore, because I think we need to drive towards answering these challenges and problems, not talking about problems alone. So I want to really congratulate Sweden and Canada. We have the two ambassadors here and my colleagues from the UN system and the partners for this great initiative, bringing us all together and really opening our eyes and also driving us to join forces to address this. We have a group of 10 diplomats, head of mission, ambassadors, E4C campaign. That is man also joining with the full commitment to work on this. So, you know, I'm a father of two girls. I want to protect them, and I want to personalize these stories so each of us have these stories behind. We have boys, we have girls, and I have a boy as well, and I want to also make him to be responsible or proposable. So these are personal stories as we hear from these two representative students, and this is really great. We are here. Within the UN system, we have various programs led by leaders of the organization who have the expertise and mandate to drive this process, like UNFPA is one of those, UN Women, etc. But then now, working with the European Union, we're coming with one of the most comprehensive approach in responding to these sexual violence, gender-based violence, and sexual exploitation, with 6 UN agencies working together, and of course, in very strong partnership with Sweden, Canada, Ireland, many others who have been constantly engaged. And going forward in terms of really going to the bottom of this big concern. And the concern here in institution also emerged because we have this concern in society. And every day we hear this problem. And one of the most serious things for me, and eye-opening, which happened when I went to meet the head of police in this country, talking about security and election-related violence and gender, etc. And there was a very striking statistics about gender-based violence and the violence within close family, within close relatives even. That is really extremely worrying, and we really need to take responsibility, each of us, in this. It's not about he or she or this institution or that institution or government or gender commission and etc. And of course, as partners, we are really committed supporting on this, because the violence is a basic violation of human rights and girls and women. This is a starting point. Second is, it causes a huge amount of humiliation, deprivation, and losing their future potential and the progress and prosperity for the nation itself. As we heard, these girls were about to drop out from university. You can imagine the future of that girl and many other girls who would have dropped or who have dropped and didn't get this support. So how crucial it is to have these supports and etc. So what type of support we need? And there was a very strong reference to action. There was a reference to policy, but the right policy, engagement of the youth and those victims and etc. So I think the bottom line is that action, 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 and the right types of action. And who takes that action? Of course, the judicial system, the security, the institutions, the media, and those responsible managing. If we are referring at the institutional level here, at universities or academic of highest learning, where we send our girls and boys to be safe, to be educated, to be a great citizen, and then the humiliation they go through. And who is responsible to provide that safety, security for them within campus? Obviously, I would say universities have the first primary responsibility. There must be a mechanism put in place so that the victims have a sort of confidential way to reach out and to seek help. And there must be a service for that victim in terms of support. And there should not be perpetrators like this professor allowed to go free, and the leadership in the university must not protect them. And there must be a really mechanism to communicate among the students and really communicate in a way that everybody understands it. Maybe there should be a orientation session, and the point was very well referred, girls and boys. I think increasingly boys are becoming also victims in different ways. So therefore I think this is an element maybe of different degrees, but that reference is really important. So within that broader framework, I have about 6 points I thought would be really important going forward. What can be done and what should be done. The first point is, of course, the reference to clear policies and policies which really reflects the reality and which reflects the views and situation on the ground, and also the reprisal, the law, the mechanism in addressing that, and there should be a real element of absolute zero tolerance. Maybe it should not be the professor colleagues who are in the jury. There should be an independent element of jury to address that, so that there is no patronizing element or conflict of interest. The second, I think the point is also here really education. Education, information sharing, understanding where to reach out, and that type of mechanism, and supporting the students who can feel comfortably and securely to go and approach for that service and support when there is a need or abuse of powers in one way or the other. Clear procedure, clear reprisal system, and it's done not with favors, but absolutely with zero tolerance. The third point is also to have a clear guidelines in terms of what is right and what is wrong to those perpetrators and abusers, so they know their space and what they can do or not do, and etc. I think that element of educating among management, staff, or anybody would be also extremely important. The fourth is this system of victim online, like 24 service, anonymous, etc. So there can be a real availability of that anytime when it's needed, and the institution really need to seriously look at it in establishing that, and then the fifth is a strong disciplinary measure, as I was mentioning before, in terms of reprisals, like including dismissal. It's really fundamental. And lastly, these stories which have been shared. What has happened to those who have really misused their power? And so commonly sharing these statistics and information. I'm not talking about confidentiality of individual cases, but more on that. So it plays a deterrent role going forward.
just to bring a little bit perspective from UN, although the broader UN system, UN is also part of the society. We are all part of the mix of society and nations. Increasingly, there has been concern about sexual harassment within the UN system. So the Secretary General of UN has come in extremely strongly on it and bringing complete zero tolerance on sexual harassment. Anyone found to be exploiting is dismissed as far as that. And there have been many cases at the highest level of those action being taken at different agency level. There are hotlines, phone lines, and etc. So clear mechanism. There are still problems, I would say. It's not that's it's not free of this, but the mechanism has been put, and increasingly people have come forward. The reference of here favors. There are concern of these favors. The junior staff being exploited by senior, and these type of things. But the key issue is action from the top. That's fundamental. And various mechanisms put in place to report, for the victim to go and raise concern. And I want to say another point is, in the broad context of sustainable development goals, what we are talking about, gender-based violence, promotion of gender, is one of the priority areas. And of course, if we cannot address, gender equality, and there is still a exploitation of sexual violence, etc., we cannot have TBSDT. This is over 50% of the population. Their right, their concern. So it's really at the bottom of the overall development a nation has committed and embraced on. And so lastly, I want to say that really this is a great effort, a commendable steps. And in the United Nations system, we are committed as a part of it, and we have great partners here. We are working together. So let's join hands and let us know what help we need to put on it, to put a stop on this at the institutions. At least at the institutional level, I think we can show results quicker than a bigger level of society, because it's a closed circle. And as I hear from the representative from the University of Zimbabwe, Bindura, and others, there are steps already taken. And what alarms is this statistics of 74% of the students being a victim. I think that's one is too many, and we really need to work on it. Thank you very much.